What's up, everybody? It's Greg from the IGN PlayStation team, and I'm here to talk to you about Resistance Retribution. This is from Sony Bend, the same guys who did the Siphon Filter games on PSP, so they obviously know their stuff, but this time they've been given a license hopefully people actually care about. Filling in the gaps between Resistance 1 and 2, you play James Grayson. During one of his raids with the Marines, he runs into his brother. The brother's being converted by the Chimera, and he has to be killed. Grayson kills him, goes AWOL, and starts blowing up conversion centers all over the country. Eventually, the Marines catch up to Grayson, though. Even though he's been blowing up all these conversion centers, fighting the good fight, and became a folk hero, people are still upset with him, right? He's a deserter, so they put him on trial, and he gets sentenced to death. However, the French resistance needs his help, gets him out of jail, and they go on a conversion center, blowing up a run. The best part about all that is that's just the prologue. Resistance is a really, really deep game with a really thick story that makes you care about James Grayson. You get a lot of characterization out of this guy, and he's awesome. The presentation's stellar for a PSP game. I mean, there's, diary entries from Grayson, really good cutscenes. Graphically, it looks like a PSP game. It's good, but it's not, amazing or anything. But it's clear this isn't a cash-in. This is like a full-bodied experience. It's one of the most well-rounded PSP games I think I've ever played. Driving that point home, the music is awesome. They brought in an orchestra, and it really gets you in these tense moments. You're full of suspense, you're running around shooting everything. The music's right there along with you. Gameplay is where it's at. Like most third-person shooters on the PSP, the face buttons control your point of view while the analog stick moves you. To compensate for, aiming being too difficult, you actually have an aiming box. So as long as you have bad guys in this box, it's going to auto-aim to them and snap right to them and shoot them. It's really a great way to play third-person on PSP. Making this aim box even better is the fact that there's a whole bunch of different weapons in Resistance Retribution, and they're all equally cool. You have traditional stuff like a combat shotgun, that puts out either a single blast or a double blast. But then there's cool stuff like the Razor, which, fills in for the bullseye this time around. Shoots out little energy balls, or its secondary fire shoots out a razor blade that'll shoot all around and kill people, anyone who's in the hitbox. The chain gun has a shield, the auger can shoot through walls, and the Magnum fires off these explosive little blasts that you control. It's really top notch. On top of all that, there's an auto cover system to Resistance Retribution. Grayson will run up to an object, there'll be enemies on the other side, and he'll automatically crouch behind this little ledge or box or whatever's in front of him. When you tell him to shoot, Grayson stands up and shoots over the cover object. When you stop shooting, he goes back down. It's a really great system that works well. Making that single-player experience even better is the fact that there's a ton of replayability to Resistance Retribution. To begin with, if you have Resistance 2 on your PS3 and a PSP, you can hook them up and first infect the PSP, so all of a sudden Grayson is infected with the Chimera virus. He can breathe underwater, he'll have yellow eyes, a different costume, a new weapon, and regenerative health. All these neat little bonuses. But you can also then connect them so that you actually play the PSP version with your DualShock 3 controller. Replayability extends beyond the controller too. There's skill points to unlock, which are basically like in-game achievements or trophies. You also can collect intel throughout the levels, like little hidden documents. All of this unlocks different stuff for use in Resistance Retribution. However, the biggest thing that's going to keep you coming back to Resistance Retribution after this story is the multiplayer. In short, this is multiplayer pulled from the PlayStation 3 game. This is a solid experience. There's ad hoc for local play, but there's also a really deep infrastructure that ties in stats, it connects to myresistance.net, there's voice chat, there's taunts. This is what you'd expect from a multiplayer game, but it's on the PSP. Somebody got this right. I can't believe it! Sony Bend's really trying to create a community here around Resistance Retribution, and it's amazing. This is for real a multiplayer game. This is the PS3 in the palm of your hands in terms of a multiplayer experience, and that's great. It's great to finally see someone doing that as far as developing. So in a nutshell, that's Resistance Retribution. It's got an awesome single-player component, it's got a really fun multiplayer, there's a bunch of stuff to unlock. This is a complete package in the palm of your hands, and I can't recommend it highly enough for PSP owners.